What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dirty Shore Underground. Tonight, as you should know, Sunday night, bonus episode podcast, Fear the Walking Dead. But before we get into it, go ahead, Rob, hit them.
Alright, so make sure you check out DirtyShoreUnderground.com. New episodes of the podcast every Thursday, bonus episodes every Monday or Tuesday. And make sure you're following at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's the easiest way to stay up to date on all the latest information. We'll send out links on those sources, especially to the live stream. We live stream this and every podcast live on YouTube. YouTube.com/C/Dirty Shore UG-OTA. And if you want to participate in the podcast, just scroll down to the bottom. There'll be a section that says live comments. Click in there, you can comment. It'll pop up on the right-hand side of the screen. And you can join us and participate with questions and comments. Just keep in mind there's about a 40-second delay, so you want to make sure that you give us some context about what your comment's about. Also, right at the top, spoiler alert for everybody, we're going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 3 of The Walking Dead. So make sure that you have seen that before you... Fear the Walking Dead. Season 2, Episode 3 of Fear the Walking Dead. So make sure you've seen that.
Tonight, man.
Make sure that you've seen that before you watch this. If not, go back and watch it. We're also probably going to be discussing The Walking Dead, all the rest of the Fear the Walking Dead seasons, maybe some of the comics as well. So obviously, this is your spoiler alert, and you don't want to. If you don't want to get spoiled, then stop listening right now. So, but Fear the Walking Dead. Our big complaint for the last couple weeks has been that it's slow and it drags a little bit. I can't say that there's been that much change thus far.
No, but it's finally starting to hit that point.
The first half of the episode was very slow, and then the second half did start to pick up, so that's good. But we start out the episode with not our group, but Flight 462. And we get to find out what happened. Okay, so update on everybody. I actually wasn't late. I was close. I was about a minute and a half late today, so I caught most of the show. Did you see the actual plane crash? Or
No,
she was just in the boat?
We did not see it. They were just in the boat.
Alright, so I didn't miss that much at all. Flash asks, there was a zombie horde attack. What more do you want? Well, it's not... First of all, it wasn't a horde. It was like just a group. But more than that, it's not just about the action, it's about the way the story progresses, and like we still have not gotten much story development. A lot of character development, not so much story development. So, but we, where was I going with that?
Why do you think?
Yeah.
You want to sit in? No?
So what we did see though is that Flight 462 has crashed, like we pretty much knew that we would, what's her name? What is the character's name? Do we even know?
I don't think we remember yet.
Yeah, the Asian girl who we saw, who I think everyone predicted was going to play a big role, is alive and in the boat. The boy, who we also thought would play a role, not. So I think our assumption's got to be that he's not around anymore.
At this point, he's dead.
Yeah, so we see her in the boat, and there's a guy who's badly burned, and there's also two other people, and the one guy says he wants to put him out of his misery. God, I gotta find that girl's name because I'm not gonna call her the Asian chick the whole episode. But basically, she says that.
You just don't want to seem like a racist bastard.
Yeah, well. She just basically says, no, we're going to let him live, and then kills the guy who's perfectly normal and healthy in order to keep the other guy alive. So, what do you think?
That's like shooting yourself in the foot, really.
I was going to say, is that the smart decision to make?
No. Keep the people alive that can benefit you in the zombie apocalypse.
And
I think our friend of the show that you haven't met yet would agree. Give a yes or no.
Yes.
Yep, say. There you go.
Right, so you got to keep the people alive who can help you. And I get that she wanted to stop him from killing the other guy. I also got the sense that she was awake and she knew that he was doing, and she waited until the last second to gut him. But Michelle Ang is her name. Charlie is the character's name. So Charlie, or Michelle. so I don't have to call her the Asian chick the whole time. So she saves the wounded person and kills the healthy person. And I don't know what happens. They don't really show her doing anything, but I guess she dumps the body overboard. Who knows? Later, skipping to the end of the episode, we see her again, and the second person who was in the boat, who also said maybe we should kill him to put him out of his misery, also not there. So I wonder what happened to him. The comment was made that was it the same guy who was stuck in the boat intake, and it very well may have been. I don't remember what the guy was wearing in the boat, so somebody would have to follow up on that to figure out if the second guy from the boat was actually the guy who was stuck in the intake. But again, we're on a boat and it's just dragging and oh, there's a zombie and his hand is caught and he's still alive under the water, so now we have to clean out the filters. Blech. Come on, let's get to that. So Flash asked, is that the sunken zombie that we saw? The comment was made here that they thought it was in fact the same guy, but I don't know that there was any confirmation of that, so hard to say. But
I don't remember the guy in the boat, so.
Yeah, it was dark and it was a flash and the sun was in my eyes and I don't really remember.
I mean, and we're still at a point with Fear the Walking Dead where we're not going to remember a whole lot.
Yeah.
Season 4, probably like with Walking Dead, is when we'll finally start remembering every little detail, or we'll go back and rewatch it.
Well, and this is the first watching too, so we don't have the benefit of going back and seeing it again. But so Flash's character development, it's a drama. Thank you for lecturing the person who writes scripts about character development and how important it is. Here's the thing. We learned nothing new about any of the characters. They are jumping around so much with these characters that we have no idea who's who from week to week.
It looks like Walking Dead.
Well, it looks like Chris is becoming a stronger person. Nick was buddy-buddy with Strand, and then seemed like he was going for drugs again, and then now he's the hero again. He's got zombie blood on him, and he's hissing in the face of a zombie. And everybody's just so all over the place that I can't call this character development. What I call it is just character. So we have that Gotham guy. Welcome, that Gotham guy, whose comments, details always show up when one rewatches it. Absolutely, on a second watching, I'm sure that a lot of those little things would pop up and we'd be able to do it. So, Flash says, I'm the one who analyzes stories. Literally went to school for it. Understood. Not a story. It's a screenplay in the visual form. So totally something different. And the thing is, you can drag out character development in a book because it's absorbed in a different way. When I'm sitting here on Twitter, because the first half of the episode is just dragging and dragging and dragging, it's a whole separate thing. So,
although in fairness, you do that even with the major episodes.
I do. I still multitask.
Somehow you can figure to multitask it. But I look at my phone for 1 second and I miss fucking Daryl getting shot in the shoulder. So
yeah. You just got to know when to look up. It's cues by the music, cues from what's going on, cues from that thing. Flash says, plus we were watching it week to week as opposed to binge watching it. I also understand that. Flash says, her minor is in film. Congratulations. So, you know who's... But my point is this. You know who doesn't have a degree in film? Robert Kirkman. The guy who makes the show. And I think that it's very obvious the way that it's progressing that he is telling the story the way he wants to tell it. And he's telling it a lot like a comic book. Do you find that the episodes move... I mean, obviously there is no Fear the Walking Dead comic for them to follow.
I think that if there was, a lot less people would be bitchy about Fear the Walking Dead.
I would agree.
Because they would have a feeling of where it's going, and they would be excited for every little detail to get to that point, just like we are with Walking Dead.
Right.
While those who read the comics up to where
already
the
knew
series
what was going on. Yeah.
So.
That Gotham guy says hi. A human killed a human tonight, so that was a moment of development. He'd not done that. Now, I agree. I think that the one person who has been on a pretty straight trajectory of character development has been Chris. Because last season, we hated Chris. He was just whiny and annoying, and he has gone from annoying little boy to like ass kicker to Daryl.
I don't think there was anybody we liked last season other than Strand, to be
There
honest.
really wasn't, and it's sad that we like Strand and he's turned into what he's turned into. But
government agent.
So Chris killing another human, obviously a big deal, but I think that one thing that they're doing when I say that there's story development is there is some story development, I suppose, because we see two characters who have now come in contact with each other, Charlie and Chris. Charlie refuses to kill a human except to defend another human. And Chris is kind of going ape shit all the time. Flash says he's so annoying, he's just now a psycho. I don't know that he's a psycho. I mean, I think that he's making tough decisions that need to be made. And somebody's got to fucking...
The Rick kind of decisions.
He is making Rick kind of decisions.
If he could possibly harm us, then you're dead.
Well, and, I mean, I don't even know if it's just that, because when it comes to the guys in the plane, nobody was going to, none of them were going to hurt him. But he was doing a mercy killing. He was killing that person because they were asking for it. We have two characters in this episode that were asking to die at different points for different reasons. And Charlie refuses and will kill someone else in order to save a life, but Chris won't. So that Gotham guy says, yes, Kirkman is very much is telling it like a comic. Also true with Fear. People don't know how it'll go. And I will say, going into The Walking Dead, I never read any of the comics, so I didn't know how it was going to go.
But you probably heard things.
I heard a few things, but what it comes down to is I think the showrunner on The Walking Dead did a better job and got that story moving in the way that it really should move, so that it wasn't so comic booky, where it's just kind of like this episode, for instance, is an issue of a comic book. Big action at the beginning, story development in the middle, big action at the end, and there's not a lot of, and the characters don't have to be the same from issue to issue. So the characters become what we need them to become in between every issue. Travis is a badass in episode 1. Turns into a bit of a bitch in episode 2. This one is a little unclear. Maddie.
Because apparently he knows his shit for rebuilding engines and shit.
Where the fuck did that come from? How is this dude an expert scuba diver and can work on boats? Said he didn't have a boat in season 1 because they were talking about getting a boat and he doesn't have one. So this is why I say it's like a comic, because when the situation arises, you find out about skill sets that nobody ever knew you had.
I mean, then again, me and you ain't like souped up car people, so This would probably be one to ask Brian. If you were stuck on a boat and all you had was the manual, could you rebuild this shit if you had to, you think?
I could, yeah.
Because you would understand the parts based off car vehicles and shit like that?
Just general knowledge.
But I don't think there was anything that we got from Travis before this that said he had any special knowledge.
Yeah.
If I was Travis, I'd just kill Strand and be done with it. Just take the boat and go. You did all the work to it.
I think the Mexican guy would be the one to kill him first, to be honest.
But no, so I mean, Travis had that old truck that he kept running, I guess, but we never really saw him work on. He didn't have a project car. He didn't have a boat. How is it that he knows all this stuff? It's the comic book mentality of what problem do we need to solve in this issue? All right, now one of our characters has to have a skill that we didn't know we had. Here we go, let's do it. Travis happens to have all of it because they need everybody else on the beach. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is.
I don't remember from season 1 what his particular job was.
I don't think they ever said.
I don't think so either, but
I know he has a pickup truck, and most people with pickup trucks have a general knowledge of mechanics.
He does say that it's an old truck and he keeps it running, so there's that. Flash said he rolled a natural 20. I have no idea what that means. No context for that. The Gotham guy says yes. Flash, thanks for being a tabletop nerd. I suppose rolling a 20 has something to do with Dungeons and Dragons or something. Gotham guy says agree with it being very comic-like. I mean, if I may mention, last week was good but predictable. We knew the house was going to go south. Yeah, and so there's a conversation going on in the comments, which I'm missing out on. So, Yeah,
this is lovely because this is like a lot.
Yeah, I
going
dig. So, but I think that it is very comic booky, and last time had that situation too. Like we knew that house was just a stop. We know that this island was just a stop, and this continues to happen. That is so much like a comic book development, and I think that Kirkman maybe needs to get somebody in there who knows a little bit more about film and TV to get this story moving along a little bit. But
and before you go any further, just so everybody knows, the voice you're hearing off screen at this moment, for those that are watching, is Brian from the Vape Crew. And you'll hear more about, not far enough. There you go. That arm right there is Brian from the Vape Crew. Our next episode, you'll hear a bit about our Expo exploits and whatnot. So
I was going to say, speaking of the Expo, we'll be having an episode this Thursday. We'll be live streaming either Tuesday or Wednesday night, so make sure you're following at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram to make sure that you are getting up with that up-to-date information. You can watch a live stream as we record, and then the episode will be available on DirtyShoreUnderground.com on Thursday, so make sure you do check that out.
yes, merch.
Let's see. That Gotham guy says, yes, stop with the stops and too slow burn. Do something like with the Pirates or something. Gotham guy, I agree with you on that. This is the worst chase movie ever shot. We haven't seen the bad guys yet. We've only seen what they've done, which is fine, except for you have to eventually see the bad guys.
They're building up for the end of the season.
Well, and I get that, but if they are really on the run from these pirates, you need to see something every episode about the pirates, because it keeps them moving, it keeps them running.
But, I mean, you also got to think, Walking Dead didn't really hit its stride till the back half of season 2.
But again, the story, there was character development all along that made sense, and it was more streamlined character development. Everybody started taking on roles, and they built themselves out. They became three-dimensional in those roles.
But I don't think it really pulled everybody until the back half.
Right. Well,
or the last episode of the first half.
But it's not about. I'm not talking about appeal. I'm talking about quality of the show, and I think the quality of the show is lacking. But I did want to say before we got off of it though, Thursday, talking about the Vape Expo. The Vape Crew all went out. Make sure you check out Dirty Shore UG on Facebook for some live stream videos that were shot there. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. But a big thank you to Nate down at Oasis Vapor for sponsoring, I guess, the Vape Crew to go out to the expo.
And Jim from Shore Vapor.
And Jim from Shore Vapor, but specifically Nate because Oasis Vapor, as always, is a strong supporter of the show. We appreciate Oasis Vapor supporting us. So make sure that you check them out. North 6th Street in Denton. You're going to take the exit off 404 for 313 and 616. It's in the big red building between the big McDonald's and the Burger King. You can't miss it. Whether you're just starting out trying to quit smoking like I am, just starting out in the vape lifestyle, or whether you're really serious and getting into competitions, you can find anything that you need at Oasis Vapor. That's on North 6th Street in Denton. Make sure you check that out. You can also find a link to the Facebook page in the show notes. So, and Oasis Vapor has some top-of-the-line stuff.
I feel like he just doesn't want to be in the camera.
Has some top-of-the-line stuff. It's one of 25 shops in the U.S. where you can get the Rogue Mod. So make sure you check them out there. Also, it looks like there's going to be, we'll talk about more on Thursday, but some brand new products coming from the expo to the store. So,
and for people that think that you can't make money from doing cloud comps and shit like that, the first place prize for best cloud yesterday was $450 cash in your hand right there. Plus they paid for, what was it, hotel stay for the OC one?
The OC Expo.
So they were paying for your shit for the OC trip when they go down to do OC in October.
Right.
And to be in the cloud comp then. That's pretty decent.
Yep.
All three places got paid.
Well, there you
Everybody got money all three places. First, second, and third got paid.
So you'll find out more about that on Thursday. But again, a big thank you to Nate down at Oasis Vapor. And of course, if you want to meet Kenny of the Dirty Shore Underground podcast, you can check them out down at the shop on North 6th Street in the Big Red Building on weekends. So you'll be available there.
And you can also meet Brian.
There you go. So back to the story though. That Gotham guy said it's being dragged out too much. They shouldn't. They should be more hinting about the pirates in episode 1, which is the point the point I made.
The pirate.
And that Strand's agenda is also being drugged too much. I agree with the Strand's agenda thing. I think that we have moved forward a little bit with that. Oh God, is this still recording?
It's still recording.
Okay. You have to use your notes, probably.
That's right, I got the notes with her. Okay, keep going.
So, Strand's agenda, I think that was played out a little bit, but in one episode we went from knowing nothing to knowing the whole plan, and that's not how you do things. You could have had the last 2 episodes of leading up to that a little bit more. Flash says that I made a comment earlier, I think on text or in tweets, that it was very Hitchcockian, not only in the way it's shot, but on the idea of suspense. I agree again. Still, obviously, I agree with myself.
That was right after we started up the live stream.
Well, oh, that's true. Yeah. So, but my point with that what I would say to that is Hitchcock tells a story in 90 minutes. This has now been 3 hours, and we have not done nearly as much. I can appreciate a slow build in the suspense of a Hitchcock movie, but there's got to be a payoff, and we're not getting the payoff. Are we getting action? Yeah. Did we get a horde? We got a group anyway. We got Nick.
That was probably a horde to them, to be honest.
Because they just started out.
Because we got to look back at back at the beginning.
Daniel led an army of 5,000 zombies, so he's seen a horde. That's not a horde to him. But there was a group of zombies. There was action. Nick falls in the pit and gets buried, and he finds out about the blood. And this is all action, action, action. But it's not building the story. I'm not looking for necessarily just action. I'm looking for story and building up suspense. So, yeah, I think she agrees with you about the horde comment. I think that's what that point was.
For them, that 20 or 30 zombies is probably going to be a horde for the moment.
And they're learning that sharp tools are way better because freshies, as we kept saying, you can't just beat their skulls in. You gotta
just pistol whip them one time and it's over.
Yeah. That Gotham guy says, yeah, in Hitchcock we get to start to see the payoff by the middle of the movie, and then the big payoff at the end, it satisfies enough. That's exactly my point. And if Hitchcock was to do a show, which he did do a show, but not a serial, I think what you would see is that in the middle of each episode there is a bit of a payoff. At the end of each episode there's a payoff. And all of that is building towards a bigger payoff at the end of the season. But we're not getting that. We're getting this slow burn. And I mean, listen, I'm still watching it. We're still here. But at the end of the episode,
we're only 3 in. So if they do the full 18.
No, but here's the problem. If they don't, if this is how it is now, they're not going to get 16. They're going to get 8, and that's going to be it. Because I don't think that they are getting. I don't think they're getting the viewership because of the way that this thing is progressing. I think they need to go back and re-edit after episode 5.
But didn't you confirm that this one's getting 16?
Here's how it works. They can give you all the episodes that they want.
Yeah.
If you're not performing, they'll cut you at the end of the season.
I get that, but if it's getting 16...
No.
You said they were getting 16.
Okay, they have paid for 16. But have you ever bought a sandwich, and in the middle of the sandwich it was shit and you didn't want to eat it? What'd you do with it?
Trash.
That's what AMC will do. Because they have a lot of programming coming out, and they have other things. They could run Walking Dead reruns and probably get the numbers that they're getting with this new show. They got to do something to get this show going. And it's not the story. I like the story. The story's good. You're telling the story shitty. This is like Kenny 2 drinks from now trying to tell a damn story. It's just not going to make any sense, and then at the end of it you're going to be like, wait, what the fuck did he just say?
I'm only going to have one more because of that comment.
No. But then like at the end of the thing there has to be some sense to it, and I don't think there is that much sense to it. So, Flash says, do we know the future of Better Call Saul? My understanding is that Better Call Saul got picked up for another set, but for another half season, mid season, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's on the fence too because the ratings aren't so great for it. I loved Better Call Saul though. You didn't watch it, but I like it.
I'm going to catch up on it. All right.
Yeah. That Gotham guy said it's true of all shows that start to flop in the middle of the season. They'll just kick in and not show the other 8. And I don't think they've shot the other 8 either. So it's like they approved 8 and they didn't shoot it. So usually what they will do is they'll show everything that they already have on film. And I think they have the first 8 on film. hiatus. They'll start shooting the other ones when they're done with The Walking Dead because I think it's some of the same crew.
I'm literally giving Fear to the mid-season finale.
Why is that?
I don't see Fear of the Dead doing nearly as good as The Walking Dead.
If it doesn't pick up at the mid-season finale, like it Walking Dead did, because if you remember, Walking Dead's mid-season finale for season 2 was the barn opening up and Shane pointing the gun.
Yeah.
I mean, in all
And
honesty,
shooting the little girl.
I started watching it.
That's when
The
it
first
really
season.
got hooked.
I started watching the first season of The Fear of the Dead, and it just
And
it wasn't very appealing to me.
Brandon never got hooked with Walking Dead until he read the comics.
Yeah.
That's when he got hooked.
Well, and again, because you're absorbing it a little differently, I think that it is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine in the comics, and they do the show much better. Flash says, but that is pretty slow too. I don't know what that's in reference to. I guess The Walking Dead, maybe? And Gotham Guy says, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So we will see Daryl. We'll see Daryl getting
I'm
back.
sorry, that's Tech 9 talk.
God, I was looking for the thing I posted on your wall about the Walking Dead, but I cannot find
Too
it
soon
right
for
now.
what, Flash? You know to get better, mention
No,
two
eeny, meeny,
words.
miny, mo is too soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's part of the chat that's happening in the
Live stream.
In the live stream. So
We always have stuff going on, even if we only got a couple people. There's always something going on.
yeah, so make sure you're following along at youtube.com/c/dirty-shore-ug-ota. So let's take a little sidebar since we've mentioned eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I sent to you a link to a page that had the breakdown of who supposedly it was. And there was this couple of signs, there were rocks on the
I
ground,
just remember this.
and what's in the background. And the first 3 minutes of the video has you convinced it's Glenn. I was literally sitting there watching it like, well, shit. I guess Kenny was right. But then the rest of the video he explains how we have no idea. Because the lights, there should have been a truck even if there wasn't an RV. And
Well, at the end of the video, the guy even said he didn't really have no clue.
Well, when Glenn
Yes,
was,
there was a couple rocks by Daryl too.
Yep.
They weren't as close together as the rocks that were close to fucking Glenn.
But if you really look, they're not in the right position in the head down of the first person.
That, and if you look at it too, when they actually showed him take the first swing,
Yeah.
he went to the right. The dick dude was to the right.
Well, and I mean,
Eugene.
but here's the thing. I don't know that it's because when he says if
Glenn
anybody
was all
makes a
red, though.
sound, cut the boy's other eye out. He also looks to his right, which means Carl would theoretically be to his right. But Eugene's at the end of the line, so he was supposed to be looking left.
Who did he have in between Carl and Rick? There was one or two in between.
Yeah. All I know is that Carl is to the left of Eugene. So if he looks to the right to look at Carl, theoretically it would have to be somebody on the left-hand side of the line. But in the end, I think the result that came up is that they just shot a bullshit scene because they may not even know who it is that they're killing. So
I almost feel like we won't find out till episode 2 of season 7. To be honest with you, they like to drag stuff out.
That Gotham guy chimes in and says, "It's what's his name? The guy who claimed to have the cure. That's Eugene. That's my thought because of what Abrams said to him." Eugene, I think we've discussed in previous episodes, is not a big enough character to fulfill what I think they're trying to do.
No, he's a cocksmoker.
Even though he knows the formula for making the bullets.
Right. So he's important, but he shared that with somebody else, and does that mean he's going to die? I just think that the few references that they put in there say it's not Eugene, but in the other hand, it may be whoever they decide. And I think what we said in the close was there may be a bonus features of season 7 when that DVD comes out of here's what it would look like if it was Michonne. Here's what it would look like if it was Glenn. If it was Daryl, it was Daryl. If it was Eugene. And just like they play it out and then they decide kind of what they want to do with the story.
You're still thinking it's Daryl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got a new show. I don't know if you were watching. He's got a show called Riding
Okay, because
with
you
normal race.
can't just put a pro cam on somebody to film them riding down the road.
No, he actually shot the whole thing. It's him on the road, and he's got
I
his
think Daryl's too big of a character for that.
His movie's coming. His movie's career's coming back. He's the only one who's an executive producer on the show, and he's got another show on the network. At all signs point to he's the one who doesn't need to be there
I've
anymore.
also heard that if he is gone, a lot of the fan base is gone.
See, I don't think
That's
that's
why they
true.
haven't killed
I
him
think,
off earlier.
I think people say that, if Daryl dies, I'm not watching anymore. But I think people are involved themselves in the story now, and they want to see the story too. So it's more than just him. Maybe at the beginning it was him, and he was drawing in a certain element. But now those fans are, in fact, Walking Dead fans, and they'll keep watching. So
Rick is my hero.
Gotham Guy says he'll never kill Daryl. That's what they all say. I disagree. Gotham Guy says most of the major fan base will leave if they ever do that. Good call. And Flash agrees with me that they won't because they're not Walking Dead fans. So, but anyway, back to Fear the Walking Dead. So we've seen. Again, it's hard to talk. It's hard to have a full episode because so little happened this episode. Cause it drug the shit out. So what did we learn?
Thank God we have other stuff to talk
Yeah. So we saw Flight 462 to wrap up that storyline. There was Strand cutting the raft away. Do you think that's the last we're gonna see of Charlie?
No. Nah, she'll find
about.
somewhere.
The Asian chick?
Yes, the Asian chick. Michelle Ang.
If
Yes.
the bird dude dies, she can just use his arms for paddles.
Well, she has paddles. She has paddles.
She has paddles in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
There are
shit.
paddles in the
You
boat.
ain't seen last of her then.
Well, but obviously she's not going to make 20 knots, which is what his ship was making, so she was getting towed.
Oh, it'll be a
What
while
was the
before you
pirate
see
ship
her.
making?
25. So here's the question: do they make them go back? Does Maddie make Strand take the Abigail back to get Charlie?
I think it becomes a mutiny, in my opinion. Everybody turns on Strand and they make him take it back.
There was almost a mutiny before that, just to get him on the boat.
Are you
And
really
I think-
debating this?
I think everybody agreed to let them stay on the raft because they thought, hey, they're coming along anyway, and if this dude dies, I don't want him on the boat.
That was obviously directed at Brian.
Yes.
I'm good.
But so you think we haven't seen the end of Charlie?
No.
One way or another, I think she finds her way on the damn boat. There was too much build up of Flight 462 for her to be like, oh, now she's in one episode and then she's gone.
Maybe she gives Strand a couple winks.
She'll be the next one clogging up the intake.
She's gonna clog up Strand's intake.
So we also got to see one of the most interesting things I thought, which is I've never thought to look in the background of those scenes where there are dead people lying around and seeing who the zombies are going after. Because what we saw today is in the plane there was a guy who was not dead, and the way that we were triggered that he wasn't dead is because Kenny noted the guy behind him was still trying to eat him.
Actually, that was Brian.
Was it you?
Yeah, he was still trying to eat him.
He was still trying to eat him. So that clearly we've learned. Now we, the viewer, know this because we know that from The Walking Dead. But I don't know that I've ever noticed that before. I mean, I know that they only eat the living, but have you ever seen in the background that maybe they've left somebody alive?
I mean, that's something we might have noticed in the first 2.5, maybe 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But after that, it's just we've seen several times somebody was clearly dead and zombies were eating them.
Right.
Or even animals, so.
To comment on Flash.
It's come unnoticed to us.
From what he said.
Well, let me read it. So Flash says Strand was also showing his power by cutting the rope. So.
One man's not going to take on that whole ship.
Well, but he does have an MP5, which apparently Daniel put back into its case for whatever reason. So.
I mean, at any point, they can all rush him at one time. He's not going to take them all down. They might.
Especially when that MP5 is sitting in a lock that you can jimmy open with.
And Daniel also has a pistol, so. Does he have bullets left from the herd?
Probably not. We know that he was pistol whipping a bunch of people.
One
so.
reason that Daryl could be dead is that Norman Reedus has a separate show.
Yeah, which is part, and he's also the only character who is an executive producer on The Walking Dead, and he's got a movie career that's kind of rejuvenated now with Boondock Saints 3 coming out. So it makes sense. It makes sense to me. So,
Although Boondock Saints has always been on the independent.
yeah, but it doesn't matter because if it rejuvenates his movie career, he's not just doing Boondock Saints movies; he's doing other movies as well.
But last major movie that was in theaters that you could really say that he was in was Blade 2.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Got my
We go
O's in the can.
to from movies that I've seen with him in.
Well, see, that's a whole different slew of movies though, because you don't watch movies.
Norman Reedus likes to play fucked up characters, so he would be in just about anything I would want to watch.
All right, so let's see. He's directed a couple things too, and written a couple things.
Yeah.
Look at you, Norman Reedus, getting your work done.
Norman
Making
Reedus
that
is the
money.
shit. He's the shit.
Making the money.
Oh, Game of Thrones is on tonight, guys. I hope you guys aren't missing it.
Yay, Game of Thrones.
All right, so he was on American Dad. He was in a movie called 999, which is due out this year. Air, Sky. He was in the Vacation movie. Stretch. Sunlight. Night of the Templar. Hello, Herman. He's been in a lot of independent movies, actually. That's a little weird.
He's always in the independents.
Yeah.
He's not big on the big movie shit. Never has been outside of Blade, to be honest with you.
Well, but nonetheless, he still has an active movie career that has been way more active since The Walking Dead than it was before. So
It was active before. You just don't
Gotham Guy
before.
says Norman was in Blade 2.
Duh.
You said Blade though.
I said Blade 2.
Okay, all right.
You
It
have
was still in the Blade series.
Right.
You have a comment for me because I was watching Blade 2 yesterday.
I just meant today. I mean, right now. I think you.
And I was like, literally, when I watched it, I was like, damn, I forgot that fucking
Yeah.
Norman Reedus was even in it because it had been so long since I watched Blade 2.
And Gotham Guy agrees with me that his career is taking off again, and I think that he's the logical choice. It's a good choice for the show, but of course, red herrings happen too. So it could be that they're setting this up, and it looks like it's so much like Norman Reedus, and then it's Carl. Although we don't think it will be Carl. Or Eugene or somebody else. So, but on Fear the Walking Dead. So
And they can also set him up for him to be dead, but not show that it's him and then he reappears. Or anybody.
Let's get back to Fear the Walking Dead. So we did see saw the plane crash, and we know that those guys have been left. Flash mentions that power is more of a mental thing, and I think that Strand does try to get back the control of the boat, which has been a little wary by being like, I choose who comes on here. Mm-hmm. We've towed them away from danger. Now, bop, they're on their own. My boat, I get to make the rules. Fight Club boat version.
If Charlie makes it back, I think she's gonna kill him.
Fucking kill Strand. Well, but she
kill them
doesn't.
all.
She doesn't kill humans though, unless they're a threat. So.
Well, I don't think he stands much of a chance after that one.
Well, and that's the question. So. We also saw our characters on the beach raiding a bunch of basically Castaway, but Castaway the zombie version. Let's look through everybody's bags. I'm surprised they didn't. I feel like Nick with the blood all over his face is a perfect one to just like palm a basketball or a volleyball and make a new Wilson. So
we didn't see any FedEx boxes though.
No, there were no FedEx. I was trying to think, but there were some medical boxes.
Yeah.
There was medicine, but not. That Gotham Guy says, also watching the re-airing of the episode, we're up to Travis diving. Any word or any thoughts about whether the guy stuck in the intake is in fact the guy from the boat earlier? Let us know if you noticed that. So, but other than that, not a lot happened. They raided the bags. They got stuck on there. We saw Chris kill a human, but he killed a human who
was gonna die anyway.
His spine.
His spine was hanging out of his back.
Spine hanging out. So obviously that was going to be a problem. Gotham Guy says, still confused about how he knew to do that. The whole scuba diving ability, I agree, but it was necessary for the episode plot. So one of our characters has it. Welcome to the comic book, live action comic book version.
Flashback episode coming up.
And
in all reality, scuba diving really isn't all that complicated.
It's really not.
Just go under a boat and pull somebody out of an intake that was clogging it up.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, he strapped himself into all the gear.
Now, mind you, the intake inside of a boat is only about yay big.
But he strapped himself into the gear and got off the boat. So that shows at least he's done it.
I kind of missed that part, but
Flash had rolled a natural 20, which makes me think that this tabletop bullshit is something about, like, if you need to have an ability, you need to roll 20 to do it.
20-sided die.
Are we playing Dungeons and Dragons right
Stop nerding up my stream.
D&D.
We
Anyway.
get nerdy enough as it is.
So, the funny thing is that Karina was here watching with us, and I thought she was gonna puke when they opened up the filter, when the filter thing opened up. That was actually pretty good.
They pulled the hand out.
Yeah, I pulled the hand out. Gotham Guy says it does look like him, yeah, except the hair is orange. Don't think the boat guy had orange hair. Well, the boat guy was alive after all.
There was 2 other guys on the boat with the dude that was burnt and Charlie.
Right, yeah. Oh, good God. Okay, so we're diving deep into tabletop shit that I do not give a fuck about. Sorry, guys. You guys can nerd it up with your D&D and tabletop stuff.
You don't have a level 20 troll hanging out in the tree with a bow ready to just strike people down?
I got a level 20 troll.
I have an elven ranger, okay?
I have a level 20 troll, and whenever I get lonely, I give her a call, and she comes over, and then I get the fuck rid of her. That's the only troll I need in my life. You know,
Only on the SVG.
the grossness of the hand in the filter, and there's some like cheap, like funny stuff like that. But in reality, this episode happened over the course of an hour, maybe 2 hours that day. Travis fixing the boat, getting the zombie out. They go to the beach, get some stuff together.
You can't even say 2 hours though, because when he was trying to go under the boat, the sun wasn't even up yet.
Oh, so it was all day. I guess it was all day.
When they were on the little island, the sun was blazing, which would mean midday at least.
And then it was going down at the end of the episode. So okay, so it was a whole day, but not a lot happened. They fixed the boat, and then I guess they got it moving again. Good for them. Oh, wow, okay, 2 guys after she killed the business suit man, except Munchkin who does, oh my god. We got a lot of tabletop comments going on in this section. Make sure you check out the video at youtube.com/c/DirtyShowUG-OTA, and you can comment on the ridiculousness of this tabletop conversation that we have going on. But otherwise, so we got the zombie out, the Abigail's on its way. It just feels like it's a lot of island hopping. Like they're going from island to island to island, and they just happen to break down with inside of this next island. And then something will happen with inside of the next island, because it's not enough to be on the boat. You have to have something for them to go do. It's goddamn Star Trek. Okay, that's what it is.
Never watched it.
You guys have followed more this season than I have so far. What's in Mexico that nobody knows about?
Well, we just found out that
Is that
today.
something new? That's today.
Yeah, we just found about that today.
Sorry, guys, I haven't followed the season too much.
Well,
They can't see you. I don't know why you're doing the hand moves.
To discuss a little bit about that, so we knew Strand was kind of sketchy. We knew he was headed to Mexico, essentially, in that direction anyway. And we find out that he's got some kind of compound there. I still think that it's not just him, clearly. It's a group, some kind of group that knew things were going on. And everybody's welcome, but only that number of people, or he's trying to minimize the number of people. I don't really know what's going on with him. So, but they're headed to Mexico. We do know that. Gotham Guy says, for Star Trek, island hopping worked. Not so much for Fear. But Star Trek, I don't know what Star Trek is their Flash, but yeah, so essentially the original Star Trek was go to a planet, need to go down, something crazy happens, back to the ship. We are essentially doing that only with real islands here.
Yep.
Nerd double standards, yes, nerds are all about double standards. That's why a girl can be like, oh god, I'm a gamer, because she's wearing a Zelda t-shirt. No. She's wearing a Link t-shirt. And holding a PS4 control, talking about how she can't wait to play.
And who is Link, really?
Link is the hero of The Legend of Zelda.
Okay, just checking.
That was my whole point, is that the gamer girl doesn't know. And she's holding a PS4 controller and talking about how she wants to play. What is the one with Master Chief?
Halo.
Halo. She wants to play Halo, but she's got her PS4 controller in her hand.
Which is an Xbox exclusive.
Yes. Double standards are what nerds are all about.
But if
so
you play Destiny, it's basically the same thing.
You completely missed the point that I was
I
making.
get the point. I'm just saying Destiny is basically the same shit.
Off the rails.
Made by the same company and everything.
Well, so again, we're island hopping. Who knows what the next adventure on the next island is going to be? I think maybe if I think of it like Star Trek, maybe I'll like it a little more. That there's no point. Every episode stands alone, and there's no bigger story. And the thing is, I'm okay with those kind of shows. I'm okay with dramas that don't have an end game. That we are Law and Order. Love Law and Order.
Absolutely.
There is very little connection between episodes. We do see character development, and sometimes you're like, why is he getting pissed about this? He's never gotten pissed about this before. It doesn't make any sense. But we need it for that episode for him to be pissed.
Yeah.
But there's no long-term story. And the problem with The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, is we're looking for a long-term story. It's part of a bigger story. It's not Law and Order. So we need more than that.
The thing with Law and Order is that's everyday life.
It's not this universe.
Yeah, it's not a zombie apocalypse. It's everyday life.
So Gotham Guy says, yeah, that was the guy stuck in the boat propeller at night. By morning daylight, it's fixed. That's when they head out to get supplies. So, it takes all day, basically. And it's taken all day to get through this damn podcast anyway. That's what it feels like.
Try this.
No, I'm not going to try.
No, just try.
No, I don't want to. So...
Peer pressure.
It doesn't work with me. So, what are we looking for next week? What are you looking for next week?
Something major to happen.
It's episode 4. We're halfway through.
We're 3 episodes in. We've been waiting for something major to happen. It's got to get into that deeper part. Otherwise, it's not going to make it past season 2.
Next week, obviously, they're going to be in Mexico.
I don't think so.
Because
I don't think they're going to make
it. What are they going to do out in the middle of nowhere? Unless the pirates get them.
I think the pirates show up.
That's going to be the only thing is the pirates. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that's going to stop them from hitting Mexico this week.
So we'll wait and see, but I think the pirates are going to show up. I think we'll have another episode where they see the pirates and they're on the boat, and then they go to land and they come back on land, because that's what we've seen. Mexico, I feel like, is going to be the end of the season. Episode 8, where they're like crawl up a hill, and as they get to the top of the hill, wow,
Fade out.
the house opens up, and then that's the end of the season.
was trying to actually say California, not Mexico.
Baja California. It's
Yeah.
part of Mexico.
Well, why would you
Mexico is New Mexico.
Well, Mexico is Mexico.
I mean, you know what I mean.
So, the coast of California comes down, and then right at San Diego, essentially, that's where the U.S. ends. There is a peninsula called Baja California, which is part of Mexico. So that's where he's going.
See, I just learned something new.
Cabo San Lucas is at the very base of Baja, Mexico.
Sometimes we'll learn something new on podcasts.
Gotham Guy says Baja, Mexico's strange destination to get someone. I want the pirates. Gotham Guy, I don't know who you are, but you and I, we're simpatico.
We've been saying we want the pirates since episode 1.
Yeah.
So.
And Flash is
Brandon with
goddamn it.
his we want Brandon with his jar of dirt. You know what I'm talking
Spence.
about.
Spence is, I got a jar of dirt.
No. So Flash is using emojis now. Baja Peninsula, yeah, Baja California is a peninsula. It's the inlet of California, or the Gulf of California, and Baja, Mexico. Cabo San Lucas is at the very base. If anybody's been to Cabo, you've been there. So, who knows what the fuck's gonna happen? This thing really is.
It's all over.
It is, and hopefully the action picks up. Hopefully things keep going. But still hoping that Ophelia and Nick get it on. Weird exchange with Nick and his sister. Twice, where he's like, I was always there. You just didn't see me, or whatever. And then later, he's got blood all over him, and he's smiling like a psychopath.
Norman Bates style.
Yeah, and then we saw in the preview for next week that somebody got bit. Somebody's got a bite mark on their leg. And I think that it's Nick, so I guess we'll have to see. Gotham Guy says, will they add in cartel zombies next season? Because Mexico. I would love to see cartel zombies.
Got your pound of coke.
I would love to see a mix of like Breaking Bad and
Some yayo.
well, because Gotham Guy, you know that there's a not a myth, but it's
a reference to Breaking Bad in season 2 of Walking Dead.
Well, and in season 4 or 5, that we see blue meth in season 5, and then in season 2 is where Merle tells them Daryl's talking about Merle getting getting meth from a guy who called everybody bitch, which is clearly a reference to Breaking Bad. So who knows what the hell's going on in this whole crazy thing. So
that's AMC's way of tying like everything together, which is kind of cool in its own sense.
I like it. I do enjoy it. And Better Call Saul. Make sure you go watch that. So, but anyway. All right, I'm going to bed. It has been a long weekend and I have very little sleep. But make sure. Go ahead.
You gotta ride before you go to bed.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a lot to do. Miles to go before I sleep. So, make sure you check out new episodes of the podcast at DirtyShoreUnderground.com. New full episodes every Thursday, bonus episodes every Monday or Tuesday. Make sure you're following at DirtyShoreUG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where you can get all the latest information, including links to the live stream. We live stream every single episode at youtube.com/c/DirtyShoreUG-OTA. This podcast is a proud part of the OD Anthem Digital Network. Make sure you check out odanthem.com, new episodes of that podcast every Thursday. And we have an ever-expanding network with new podcasts coming out this quarter. So make sure you check that out. Also, make sure you support us. There are two very important ways you can support the podcast. The first is go to DirtyShoreUnderground.com, click through the Amazon link. It'll take you to Amazon. You shop just like you normally do. But Amazon is a thank you to us for sending you there. It gives us a little bit of a kickback. So it helps us get new equipment and get everything that we need. You can also go to Patreon.com, patreon.com/ODAnthem. Become a monthly supporter. It's a support for the entire network, and it helps us put on these programs, get the bandwidth, do everything we need to do to keep this good programming coming. So support us any way that you can. That's Patreon, patreon.com/ODAnthem. And make sure you're following at Dirty Shore UG on all your social networks. You can find me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check it out, robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, to the news website, and links to my books, which are available on Amazon. So make sure you check those out as well. And you can sign up for the mailing list for all of my new news. The calls is underway. I edited up everything, so this week we're going to focus on the calls. Gotham Guy with the last comment of the night says, the body stuck in the prop may be the striped guy on the raft at the start. Now that he's bobbing and more visible, he looks more like him. So that may be the answer to that. I'll have to give it a second look and see. But make sure you check out my website, robertncheek.com, odanthem.com, dirtyshoreunderground.com. And we will see you later on this week for the full episode, a review of American Vape Expo 2016 from Timonium, Maryland.
Thank you to everybody that's watched tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you to Brian, who has joined us from just outside of camera view for the most part.
And have a great week, everybody.